Hi guys, it's Simon C. In this AI radar I'm gonna talk about collaboration with machines, machine learning, Achilles' heel, West's wrong position of China's AI dream, and more. 23 years after he lost to Deep Blue, in an interview with Wired, Garry Kasparov says people need to work with machines. In Kasparov's view, human-machine collaboration is a gun, which since it is so powerful, a tiny shift can actually make a big difference. With AlphaZero and future machines, he describes the human role as being shepherds. You just have to nudge the flock of intelligent algorithms, he says, just basically push them in one direction or another, and they will do the rest of the job. You put the right machine in the right space to do the right tasks. For several decades we have been training people to act like computers, and now we are complaining that these jobs are in danger. Of course they are, he says. We have to look for opportunities to create jobs that will emphasize our strengths. Kasparov says, when these jobs start disappearing, we need new industries, we need to build foundations that will help. Maybe it's universal basic income, but we need to create a financial cushion for those who are left behind. VentureBeat reports that a recent report from PA Consulting titled People and Machines from Hype to Reality supports the theory that AI will undoubtedly replace human workers in some spheres, but it also creates new roles, many of which we can't yet imagine. The report also predicts that AI is more likely to create jobs than destroy them. The research behind this report, based on 750 cross-industry businesses in the United Kingdom, found that of the 32% of respondents that had invested in artificial intelligence and automation in the last 5 years, 43% reported an increase in jobs as a result, while 40% reported a reduction. One of these shiny new jobs could be remote truck operators, which Sweden's Einride has announced that it's now hiring. The company expects to make its first hire in Sweden in March, followed by similar hires in the US later this year. VentureBeat reports that OpenAI's Jeff Clune offered his point of view on deep learning's Achilles' heel and a faster path to artificial general intelligence. Neural networks learn differently from people. Virtually all neural networks today suffer from this catastrophic forgetting. They will forget the last thing it was trained to do. OpenAI research scientist Jeff Clune says that this is the Achilles' heel of machine learning because it prevents machine learning systems from continual learning, the ability to remember previous tasks, but some systems can be taught to remember. Clune and researchers from OpenAI labs and the University of Vermont collectively shared a neuromodulated meta-learning algorithm which is able to learn 600 sequential tasks with minimal catastrophic forgetting. This is relatively unheard of in machine learning. He says, to my knowledge, it's the longest sequence of tasks that AI has been able to do, and at the end of it, it's still pretty good at all the tasks that it saw, Clune said. I think that these sorts of advances will be used in almost every situation where we use artificial intelligence. It will just make artificial intelligence better. Bloomberg reports that electrical tape on sign fooled a Tesla into speeding in McAfee's test. Technicians at McAfee placed the piece of tape horizontally across the middle of the tree on a 35 mph speed limit sign. The change caused the vehicle to read the limit as 85 mph, and its cruise control system automatically accelerated, according to research released by McAfee last week. Manufacturers and vendors are aware of the problem and they are learning from the problem, said Steve Povolny, head of advanced threat research at McAfee, but it doesn't change the fact that there are a lot of blind spots in this industry. The real-world threats of such an occurrence today are limited. For one, self-driving cars are still in the development phase, and most are being tested with safety drivers behind the wheel. Vehicles with advanced driver assist systems that are available now still require the human to be attentive. And the McAfee researchers were only able to trick the system by duplicating a certain sequence involving when a driver assist function was turned on and encountered the altered speed limit sign, according to Bloomberg. VentureBeat reports that Google's AI detects adversarial attacks against image classifiers. Defenses against adversarial attacks, which in the context of AI refer to techniques that fool models through malicious input, are increasingly malicious input like the one portrayed by McAfee technicians, are increasingly being broken by defense-aware attacks. In fact, most state-of-the-art methods claiming to detect adversarial attacks have been counteracted shortly after their publication. To break the cycle, researchers at the University of California and Google Brain, including Turing Award winner Geoffrey Hinton, recently described in a preprint paper an approach that deflects attacks in the computer vision domain. Their framework either detects attacks accurately or, for undetected attacks, pressures the attackers to produce images that resemble the target class of images. TechCrunch reports that Elon Musk said all advanced artificial intelligence development should be regulated, including at Tesla. Musk's tweet last week in response to the Twitter's MIT post about OpenAI indicated that he is quite distant from the organization he helped co-found, both ideologically and in a more practical, functional sense. While it might indeed be surprising to see Musk include Tesla in a general call for regulation of the development of advanced AI, it is in keeping with his general stance on the development of artificial intelligence. Musk has repeatedly warned of the risks associated with creating artificial intelligence that is more independent and advanced, even going so far as to call it a fundamental risk to the existence of human civilization. He also clarified on Monday that he believes advanced AI development should be regulated both by individual national governments as well as by international governing bodies like the United Nations, in response to a clarifying question from a follower. Arkansas-based Tyson Foods takes computer vision to the chicken plant. We are trying to apply the most cutting-edge technology in order to derive new insights and enable new ways to work, said Lee Slezak, Vice President of IT Architecture, Emerging Technologies and Analytics of the US-based company. The technology will allow Tyson to better control its inventory and manage the freshness of its chicken, said Mr. Slezak. The move could result in some reductions in the number of workers, though that isn't the main goal, Mr. Slezak said. Nature anonymously released an editorial which suggests a Turing test for artificial intelligence in cancer. Even when AI performance is impressive, it is not perfect. Nature says limited sample size and the scarcity of appropriate validation cohorts can result, for example, in sample misclassification, detection of non-relevant features in the testing of new data sets, or the lack of generalizability of an algorithm's predictive powers when different settings are used. These shortcomings could be alleviated through exposure to larger, carefully curated datasets that will improve analytical and predictive accuracy and prevent biases according to nature. However, privacy concerns about access to and use of personal data cannot be disregarded. AI in cancer must not center only on the few patients who can afford expensive care, says Nature. The information fed to AI should be representative of the broader population so that results will be widely applicable. Extensive validation independent cohorts will be critical to achieve the same. According to Nature, when it comes to routine application, on the other hand, focus should be placed on AI-driven approaches that can enable quick diagnosis at affordable costs with simple implementation. Such efforts could benefit underprivileged parts of the population profoundly by providing high-quality clinical assessment even when access to the state-of-the-art medical care is difficult, according to the editorial. In an episode of the IT 1000 Hours podcast, Jeff Ding emphasizes that China's AI strategy didn't appear out of nowhere with the 2017 State Council AI Development Plan, which attracted a lot of overseas attention. Rather, that was just another step forward in a long trajectory of increasing focus on science and technology, says Ding. It's connected with a plan to develop an Internet of Things and linked to a history of strategic planning for technology in areas like aerospace and biotechnology. And it was not just the central government that was moving in the space, says Ding. Companies were already pushing forward in AI development, and local level governments already had their own artificial intelligence plans. You could argue that the central government was following their lead in AI more than the reverse. Okay guys, if you liked the video, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. It's all for today. See you next time with AI Radar. Bye.